Okay, so imagine you grow a tomato. You pick it, you eat it. You save a couple of seeds from it to plant next year. Congratulations, you just broke the law. No, seriously, in many places that is now illegal, and the reason why is one of the wildest corporate takeovers in human history that somehow nobody is talking about. Let's rewind. Farming is literally the oldest job on Earth. 12,000 years old, and for almost all of that time, the business model was embarrassingly simple. You grow something, you save some seeds, you plant them next year. That's it. That's the whole thing. Free. Forever. No invoice, no subscription, no terms and conditions. Every single civilization that ever fed itself ran on that system, until about 40 years ago when some very smart people in very expensive suits looked at seeds and thought, wait, what if we owned these? And then they did. In 1980, the US Supreme Court ruled that living organisms could be patented. It started with a bacterium. Sounded boring, turned out to be one of the most consequential legal decisions in food history, because the moment living things could be intellectual property, seeds could be intellectual property. And the seed industry moved fast. First, they modified the seeds genetically. Then they patented them. Then they wrote contracts saying you cannot save them or replant them. Then they got the Supreme Court to confirm in 2013 that even if you legally bought the seed, saving it is still patent infringement. Monsanto sued 142 farmers for saving seeds in 27 states and won over $23 million from the people who grow the food. And DuPont, not even joking, sent retired police officers onto farms across Canada specifically to catch farmers saving seeds. Retired police officers on farms looking for seeds. This is where we are. And now, just 4 companies control 56% of all the commercial seeds on Earth: Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta, BASF. Oh, and those same 4 companies also control 61% of the global pesticide market. Which brings us to the sneakiest part of this whole thing. These patented seeds are not just seeds. They are the beginning of a subscription service you never agreed to sign up for. The seeds are engineered to survive being drenched in specific herbicides, which you buy from the same company, and they need specific fertilizers to grow properly, which you also buy from the same company, and specific pesticides, same company. Seeds, chemicals, fertilizers, pesticides. One bill, 4 companies, no alternatives. Fertilizer company revenues went up 57% between 2020 and 2023, not because it got more expensive to make fertilizer, just because they could charge more. And where else are you going to go? Now, here's where it stops being just a farmer's problem and starts being your problem. These seeds are designed to be sprayed with glyphosate. You've heard of Roundup. Glyphosate is the thing in Roundup, and 750,000 tons of it get sprayed on global agriculture every single year. It doesn't just sit on the plant, it gets into the soil, it gets into the water. Its half-life in soil can be nearly 3 years. It has been found in groundwater, in rivers, in the bodies of people who have never been near a farm. The International Agency for Research on Cancer called it a probable human carcinogen, and 90% of all corn, cotton, and soy grown in the United States comes from seeds designed to be drenched in it. And here's the part that should really bother you. Independent researchers who want to study whether this is safe long-term can't, because the seeds are patented trade secrets. The corporations can legally block independent safety research. We have created a food system that cannot be independently audited. We don't actually know what eating this stuff for 50 years does to a human body. We've never had 50 years of data, and we've made it very difficult to find out. Now, are you ready for the Arctic? Because this is where things get really interesting. There is a vault buried inside a mountain on a frozen Norwegian island near the North Pole. It was built to survive nuclear war. It holds over 1 million seed samples, basically a backup drive for all of human agriculture in case civilization collapses. It's called the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. People call it the Doomsday Vault, and when the internet found out who helped fund it, things got spicy. Norway paid for most of it, but also the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and an organization called the Crop Trust, which is funded, among others, by Syngenta and DuPont Pioneer. The same corporations buying up all the world's seeds also helped fund the backup vault for the seeds they're replacing. Now, the official explanation is completely logical. It's a conservation effort. Each country controls its own deposits. Nobody can touch seeds they didn't put in. Hundreds of journalists have visited and found nothing suspicious. But here's why millions of people didn't buy that explanation. Because they had already watched 4 companies buy 56% of the world's seeds with full government approval. They watched patent law make it illegal to save your own harvest. They watched retired police officers check farms for rogue seeds. They watched independent research get legally blocked. So when the same people build a bunker full of seeds near the North Pole, it doesn't feel like conservation, it feels like they already know something we don't. The conspiracy got the details wrong, but the gut feeling that the system is broken, completely right. Here's what's actually broken. 75% of the world's plant genetic diversity has vanished since the early 20th century. Thousands of crop varieties that had been adapted over centuries to specific soils, specific climates, specific communities, gone because they weren't profitable enough to scale commercially. The generation being born right now is going to inherit a food system with a narrower genetic foundation than any generation in human history, grown on chemicals we can't fully study, dependent on 4 companies that answer to shareholders, on a planet where extreme weather is making every harvest less predictable. And the backup seeds? In a vault near the North Pole, funded by the same people who built the problem. For 12,000 years, nobody owned the seed. It belonged to whoever planted it. It was shared. It was saved. It was passed from farmer to farmer across generations like a gift. Now it's a patent. Now saving it is a crime. Now retired police officers will come to your farm to make sure. And 4 companies are doing very, very well.